You already know you need to change. You've known for a while. Maybe you've known for months, maybe years even, and you're still in the same place. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care, definitely not because you don't have what it takes. You're frozen because change, real change, feels genuinely impossible, even when every part of you knows it's necessary. That's what we're talking about today. And by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why you're frozen. This is part 2 of the Breaking Free series. I'm Patty Ferreira, and welcome to Awakened and Rising. Here's the paradox that no one talks about. Knowing you need to change is not enough to make you change. In fact, sometimes knowing makes it harder. Because when you know and you still can't move, you add shame to the equation. You start to tell yourself things like, I know better. Why am I still here? What's wrong with me? And that shame, that self-judgment, that's not motivating you. It's paralyzing you. So let's start here. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not a hypocrite. You are a human being with a nervous system that is doing exactly what it was designed to do. And it is working against you. That's what part 2 is about. Now, it's not how to force yourself to change, but why change feels impossible, even when you know you need it. Because once you understand the why, the how becomes possible. Let me introduce you to something your brain does that's brilliant and also completely sabotaging your growth. It's called homeostasis. Your brain's number one job above everything else is to keep you safe. And to your brain, safe does not mean happy. It does not mean fulfilled. It does not mean aligned. So safe means familiar. Whatever you're currently doing, feeling, experiencing, no matter how painful, exhausting, or wrong, it feels to your brain that it's been categorized as safe because you survived it. You're still here. It knows how to handle this. But change is the unknown, and the unknown is a threat. So when you try to move toward change, when you start to take a step, your brain fires an alarm. Not a small one, a full-on alarm. And that alarm shows up as anxiety, overwhelm, sudden doubt, inability to focus, procrastination, exhaustion, and even physical symptoms like tightness of the chest, heaviness of breathing, and body stressing. You interpret that alarm as a sign that change is wrong and you're not ready, and maybe it's not right for you. But here's the truth. That alarm does not mean danger. It means your brain is doing its job. It is trying to protect you from the unknown. The problem is the life you're being called to is on the other side of the unknown. And your brain will keep pulling you back into the familiar, no matter how miserable familiar feels. Until you learn to move through the alarm instead of away from it, this is not a mindset problem. This is neuroscience. And the first step to changing is stop fighting your brain. Start understanding it. Here's the second reason change feels impossible. And this one goes deeper than the brain. Change doesn't just require you to do something different. It requires you to be someone different. And that is terrifying. Because your identity, who you believe yourself to be, is one of the most protected things in your entire psychology. Think about it. If you've been a strong person, becoming someone who asks for help feels like weakness. If you've been the responsible one, choosing yourself feels like selfishness. If you've built your identity around your career, your role, your relationships, and your productivity, Changing means losing yourself, or so you feel. And this is where high achieving women get stuck in a very specific way. Because you've worked so hard to build this version of you, the capable one, the one that's got it all together, the one who handles it. And somewhere underneath that, the change you need is asking you to let her go. To admit she was never the whole you. To build something new, something more true. But from where you're standing, that feels like death. And it's not. It's evolution. But your psychology doesn't know the difference. Not yet, at least. So when you feel that resistance, that grip, that I can't let go of this, that's not failure. That's identity protecting itself. And the shift is not forcing the identity to let go. The shift is giving yourself permission to grow beyond it. You are not losing yourself in this transition. You are not finding someone new. You are finding a version of you that has been waiting. There's a third reason, and this one is sneaky. It's called the sunk cost fallacy, and it sounds a little bit like this. I've invested so much in this relationship. I can't walk away now. I've spent 15 years building this career. I can't start over. I've put so much into this life. Who am I if I change it? The sunk cost fallacy is your brain using your past investment as a reason to stay in something that no longer serves you. And it feels logical. It feels responsible even. But here's what actually is happening. It's you sacrificing your future to justify your past. The time you've spent, the money you've invested, the years you've given, none of that comes back if you stay. Staying doesn't honor the investment. It just adds more cost on top of the cost. The question is never, how much have I put in? The question is this where I want to be going? Because you will never get this moment back. And a year from now, 5 years from now, you will either be glad you moved or you will have had another year to pile on. Your past investment does not determine your next step. Your vision does. Underneath all of it, the brain's alarm, the identity threat, the sunk cost, there is a fear that most won't name out loud. And that's the fear of being wrong. Not wrong about the change itself, wrong about yourself. What if I make this change and I'm still not happy? What if I leave and realize I was the problem? What if I start over and I'm still stuck? What if this doesn't fix it? That fear. That is the fear that keeps you frozen longer than anything else. Because at least right now you can tell yourself it's the circumstances, it's the job, it's the relationship, it's where I live. But if you change the circumstances and you're still unhappy, now what? Here's what I need you to hear. The fear is valid, and it doesn't mean don't move. It means the work of changing is not just external, it's internal. You don't just change your circumstances and arrive. You change and then you do the inner work that the change requires. That's why the shift is never one thing. It's a process. And that process, that's what Awakened and Rising is here for. That's what this series is here for. You're not supposed to figure this out alone. And you're not broken because you haven't figured it out yet. So here's where we land. You know you need to change. You're frozen. And now you understand why. Your brain is treating the unknown as danger. Your identity is protecting itself from evolution. Your past investment is holding your future hostage. Your deepest fear is that the problem might be you. None of that means you can't move. It means you need to move differently than you have been. Here's 3 things I want you to do right now. 1, stop trying to feel ready. Ready is a feeling your nervous system will never give you before you cross the threshold. Ready comes after you move, not before. So instead of waiting to feel ready, ask yourself, what is the smallest possible step I can take today? Not the whole plan, not the full leap, 1 step, that's it. Number 2, name the identity you're afraid to lose. Get real specific, write it down. I'm afraid to lose being the strong one. I'm afraid to lose the career I've built. I'm afraid to lose being the person who has it all together. Name it, because you cannot consciously evolve past something you haven't acknowledged. Number 3, separate the past from the future. The years you've given, the investment you've made, honor it, and then put it down. Ask yourself, if I had not spent those years, would I stay in this situation starting today? If the answer is no, you have your answer. Here's what I want you to remember from today. You're not stuck because you're weak. You're not frozen because you don't care. You're not broken because you haven't moved. You are a woman in transition, and your psychology is doing exactly what psychology does at this crossroads. The awareness you built in part 1, seeing the signs, this is part 2, understanding why you're not moving. And part 3, that's where we go into the 3 dialogues, the personal, the public, and the private dialogue. And we look at exactly where your energy is being drained in this moment. Because you can't make the shift when you're running on empty. And mostly, you are running on empty. So part 3 will drop next Thursday. I am inviting you to check out the membership. And if you're tired of sitting with this alone, come and be part of that. If you want to be in a room with women who are in this exact transition, who will hold you accountable, who will call out your excuses with love, and who will remind you of who you're becoming when you forget, that's our membership, Awakened and Rising. We have weekly live coaching calls where I walk you through exactly what you're facing. It's a private community with real accountability. It's $30 a month, and I'm going to share the link in the description. You already know you need to change. Now you understand why you've been frozen. That understanding, that's the beginning of moving. I'll see you next Thursday. Have an amazing rest of the week.